Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Joy News today. We are live on Joy News from Akukye Studios. We're on DTT because we're free to on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, decision to pay presidential spouses inconsistent with the 1992 Constitution. That's according to the Supreme Court, as it declares position of First Lady and Second Lady do not fall under the category of public office holder. We are live at the Supreme Court for more. Also, President Akufye directs the termination of part of GRA's controversial contract with SML and retained part of it after KPMG submitted its audit report. Thus, more as IMANI Ghana challenges the president not to allow 1 peswa more of Ghana's money go into the SML or any other company until such an open and transparent process has been completed. And in our Doomsor Diaries today, we take you to Kumasi, where the recent power outages have plunged many businesses into an economic downturn as they begin to incur huge losses.
2 hours on the car without light and spending 30 minutes on the car, depending on fuel to power their machines. Yeah, but right now we don't have that time over here. That's why it's giving me that pressure to finish up early. So if I don't finish up early, it's going to take his car away and I'm going to lose.
We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X Spaces at Joy News on TV. My personal handle is @Benana Aisha. Please do stay for details. The IMANI Center for Policy and Education has expressed serious disappointment by a number of elements of the President's white paper on the KPMG report on the SML contracts. IMANI insists on seeing the full KPMG report, disputing the apparent claim that any increase in petroleum consumption in Ghana should be attributed to SML. President Akufye has directed the Ghana Revenue Authority to terminate parts of its deal with Strategic Mobilization Limited and retain part of it. This decision follows an audit conducted by KPMG on the instruction of the president after an investigative piece by the Fourth Estate, which claimed the deal was siphoning billions of cedis from state coffers for no real work done. Kwekwa Sante has been sharing a copy of the press release from the presidency on this developing story.
And the claim that the government of Ghana, through SML, was losing loads and loads of money. That case has been going on. The president directed SML and GRA to put on hold this contract. In fact, the Finance Committee of Parliament is also still, as it is now, constituting an investigation into this matter. But the president directed KPMG, an audit firm, to go into this matter and make specific recommendations. If you look at the findings, they are quite damning. They say that no technical assessment was done prior to the engagement of SML. However, the presidency coming to say that such an assessment was not legally required for engaging SML. After SML was engaged, a Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors Industry Report and Ernst & Young audit report commissioned by the GRA actually found that there might be under-reporting and under-declaration of potential revenue leakages, and that is why this contract was necessary. And that on 3 occasions between June 2017 and September 2017, GRA sought the approval of the Public Procurement Authority to use single-source procurement to engage SML. PPA did not grant approval. Subsequently, GRA engaged SML as a subcontractor to the West Blue, which was already providing services to GRA at the port. SML eventually took over the services provided by West Blue when the latest contract came to an end. So that is also some point to know there that PPA agreement where the GRA was seeking a sole source was not approved. Again, regarding the transaction audit services, KPMG concluded that SML only partially delivered on the service requirements. However, given the observations made during the investigations, GRA may not have obtained all the benefits from the service. Regarding the external price verification, KPMG, I should say, concluded again that SML also partially delivered on the service requirements. And then regarding the downstream petroleum audit service, which was the subject of this controversy, KPMG determined that there was an incremental volume of 1.7 billion litres and an incremental tax revenue of 2.45 billion cedis for the period under review. And there was also qualitative benefits, including 247 electronic real-time monitoring. So if you put in sum what KPMG found, they found out that, of course, the GRA wanted to sole source this contract. The PPA declined that request, and then the GRA found an alternative way to do this by putting the contract under West Blue at the port. When West Blue's contract expired, they put them on the main contract. Again, by virtue of some of the contract that they had signed, the SML did not deliver fully on those arrangements. They delivered only partially, and they've made these findings and they've submitted them to the.
Well, in the last few minutes, the IMANI Center for Policy and Education has been demanding an open forum to show that the weight of expert opinion in Ghana is against any such flawed reasoning. Its honorary Vice President Bryce Simon is challenging the president not to allow 1 pesewa more of Ghana's money to go into SML or any other company until such an open, transparent, rigorous and meritocratic process has been completed. Excerpts of that statement released by the center reads, "It is helpless that the president of Ghana accepts that infractions occurred in the it's helpful that the president accepts that such infractions occurred in the award of the SML contracts that have so far netted the company more than 1 billion cedis." And he goes ahead to talk about how it was inevitable that the attempt to extend this same troubling arrangement to the mining and petroleum drilling sectors for an additional $100 million a year would not stand scrutiny. So the decision to halt that process was expected. The presidency's white paper also acknowledges that substantial work must be done to determine the country's needs before the award of any contract for revenue assurance in the downstream. However, we are seriously disappointed by a number of elements of the president's white paper. We insist on seeing the full KPMG report. We dispute the apparent claim that any increase in petroleum consumption in Ghana should be attributed to SML. We demand an open forum to show that the weight of expert opinion in Ghana is against any such flawed reasoning. Multiple petroleum economists are on standby to prove that no gains in consumption volume can be attributed to SML's work. We also have tax specialists on standby to prove that no tax gains due to SML's work can be ascertained to have occurred. The needs assessment mentioned by the president must be concluded before SML or any other company receives a pesewa more of Ghana's money. Civil society activists in the energy sector have lined up a long list of specialists willing to support a value for money and needs assessment pro bono. And that's the statement from IMANI Center for Policy and Education. There's more on myjoyonline.com you can read. In our Doomsday Diaries today, however, we take you to Kumasi, where the recent power outages have plunged many businesses into an economic downturn as they begin to incur huge losses. Some small businesses like car washing bays are now returning to their days of fetching heavy buckets of water to wash dirt of vehicles. The situation is not only biting hard on the car washers, but their clients who have had to expend productive hours hoping to get served. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku has more.
On any ordinary day, gushing water out of this water gun is the loudest sound you would hear at this washing bay. But it hasn't been the case in the past few months, following the unannounced power outages experienced across the country. Fetching of water from a nearby well has become the daily routine for the workers, presenting a daunting task. Samuel Sapon has been a car wash attendant for 6 years. It ordinarily would take him 20 minutes to complete a full car wash with a water gun, but he's now spending close to 2 hours to hand wash.
To spend 2 hours on a car without light and spend 30 minutes on a car with light, you have to see what I'm trying to go the money is all going. But at the end of the day, they are going to say we don't have money in the system.
He is pressured to complete the car wash as quickly as possible as his client, Fuzi Hussein, awaits to drive it off to the office.
There are some people who are using plants. They are dependent on fuel to power their machines. Yeah, but right now we don't have that one over here. That's why it's giving me that pressure to finish up early. So if I don't finish up early, he's going to take his car away and I'm going to lose.
Fuzi had hoped to get his vehicle washed within a few minutes to continue with the day's activities, but he's wasting most of his productive time at the washing bay.
I have a lot of meetings to attend to, but I'm still sitting here. If I had known, I would have decided to wash it in the house. I wouldn't have even moved out in the first place. But what else? What can I do? So I thought here would have been the quickest side for me to get my car and then attend to my meeting. But then see what's happening.
How many times do you wash your car?
In a day, maybe 2 times or maybe 3, depending on where you move to.
Meaning you're going to spend like 4 hours just washing?
Just for washing, you can imagine.
The prolonged car wash is plunging the business into an economic quagmire. Profit margins have been on a spiral trend lately. Akukye has been operating the washing bay for close to a decade now.
Office ni ye 20 cities maybe are the older mama boys na boy no Roma and it depends on
We charge 20 cedis per car wash. It depends on the car you are washing. Profits have been low now. We now get about 300 Ghana cedis a day as compared to the previous 800 Ghana cedis.
Close to 10 attendants work here every day, but the recent power cuts have rendered a number of them redundant. This has been a job that puts food on the tables of these young men and their families and supported them in establishing other businesses.
I only get 3 to 5 cars daily. This is what I use to cater for my family.
While the government refutes calling it Dumso, affected Ghanaians are hoping for an immediate solution to the power crisis wreaking financial havoc.
This thing started way back. And if it is happening today, we should understand that it is something you can't take it off. Imagine I have spent over 2 hours here because there's no light, because machines are being blown, and they should stop politicizing electricity to their politics and so-called politics that they are doing.
Until the power challenges are resolved, these attendants must endure the pain of moving to and fro for water under the sweltering weather to fend for themselves and family. For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Quick.
The Supreme Court has declared as unconstitutional the approval by Parliament to pay salaries of the first and second ladies of Ghana. Kwame Bafo-Abronye filed a writ at the Supreme Court seeking to reverse the payment of the salaries approved for the first and second ladies. The court also says the positions of the first and second ladies do not fall under the category of public office holders, and thus payment of emolument to such persons sins against the Constitution. Head of our Legal Affairs Desk, Richard Kwejonyaku, was in court and joins us with details. Kwejonyaku, what exactly were the reliefs of the plaintiff and which of them were granted?
Well, so Aisha, 4 reliefs were sought by Kwame Bafo-Abronye. The first one was a declaration that the approval by Parliament to pay salary to the first and second ladies is inconsistent with Article 71. And this particular relief, the Supreme Court upheld it, saying that stands against the Constitution, and so payment of salary cannot be made to the first and second ladies. The second relief he sought was the declaration that per Article 71 of the 1992 Constitution, the positions of the first and second ladies were also unconstitutional because they are not public office holders, and in that also regard, the Supreme Court upheld it. The last one that the Supreme Court granted was the declaration that the 1992 Constitution of the Republic, the Emolument Committee, is limited to recommending the salaries and other benefits and privileges of only public office holders. In this regard, the first and second ladies do not fall under the category of the office or public service holders. So these were the reliefs that were granted by the Supreme Court.
And which of the reliefs were not granted?
Only one declaration that per Article 108 and 178 of the 1992 Constitution, Parliament cannot on its own accord initiate or approve payment of any such emolument which would necessarily be paid from public funds without a bill to that effect emanating from the one introduced by government and duly passed into law. And so this was the one that was not granted by the Supreme Court.
Kojo, how has the plaintiff been reacting to this?
He's been very excited. Kwame Bafo has been very excited together with the lawyer. They've been jubilating. They say that this is victory for democracy. They have been reacting to it.
Well, there was another case before the court filed by South Dai MP, Roxton Dafiameko. Any decision on that?
Well, so that one related to the same emolument and salaries of the first and second ladies. All reliefs he sought were dismissed with the exception of one, and that also related to the salaries and emoluments of the first and second ladies.
Kojo Nyakun is head of the legal desk here at Joy News, bringing us some updates from the Supreme Court on the first and second ladies, the payment of the first and second ladies. Now, let's get on to some more energy issues, because Minister for Public Enterprise Joseph Kujo has announced that recent developments at the Electricity Company of Ghana will be investigated. ECG has been in a standoff with the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission over a 5.8 million cedi fine imposed by PURC over the recent outages. Although lawyers for ECG are fighting the directives, Public Enterprises Minister Joseph Kujo says the matter will be investigated.
So, for the first time, we have documented this in state ownership policy, which will give direction.
And then there's the second one, which talks about good corporate governance.
Yes, and then you see this one is the first one, which is the state ownership policy, manages the state entities in one portfolio, and SIGA puts responsibly for that. The second, which is Code of Corporate Governance for the specified entities and public services organizations, are more or less human resource management documents, conduct of the persons who are in charge of affairs. What will it be? Issues of conflict of interest, issues of generally ethical behavior and so on, which is very critical in managing businesses and, for that matter, corporates. We've not also had them extended to state-owned enterprises, which are profitable by intention, which should operate and make profit. We haven't had that. We have in the past had code of conduct in the public services. These are not necessarily profitable organizations, but now we have enhanced them and put the public services organizations and SOEs and other regulatory agencies together and giving them one code. The President recognizes the importance of the SOE sector to national development, and for that reason, all the necessary structures and governance mechanisms that are needed to ensure that we achieve leveraging the SOEs to contribute to national development have been done, especially with the launching of these two critical documents. And so we should all get involved. I am happy today we are in a position to assess performance of governments by their performance on how they manage the SOE sector, because this is about a third of Ghana's economy. So with the pathway charted by His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, I look forward to the SOEs becoming aware, and so that participants in that space will not behave like it's government asset, it's Abaye Juma principle, but they will manage with professionalism, ethically, and honesty, so that we'll be able to achieve maximum benefit from our ownership of these assets. Thank you.
Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo says his government has taken steps to enhance accountability and transparency in the management of state-owned enterprises and also to make them profitable. For years, many public enterprises have grappled with breaking even, with some on the verge of collapse. In a bid to promote accountability and efficiency in state agencies, President Akufo-Addo has adored a new policy document that provides a framework that will govern the activities of governing boards and state-owned enterprises. Addressing a gathering at the 2024 Annual Policy and Governance Forum, President Akufo-Addo explained non-compliance with the new guidelines will be against the spirit of good corporate governance.
That is the aim of the new Code of Corporate Governance for specified entities, which is being outlawed by President Akufo-Addo at the 2024 Policy and Governance Forum. According to the State's Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, this will help improve efficiency in the public sector, a vision which has enjoyed the support of the Public Enterprises Minister.
Today marks a significant opportunity for us to engage in comprehensive discussions regarding our achievements, areas of improvement, and strategize for advancement. It is fitting, therefore, that we not only unveil pivotal documents, but also engage in meaningful deliberations aimed at exchanging and implementing effective measures in corporate governance across our respective entities.
For the first time in the history of this country, Mr. President, the structure we had, State Enterprises Commission, which would manage, and when an enterprise collapses, we pass it on to Divestiture Implementation Committee to dispose of it, which became the trend. Your presidency has halted that, and you've put in place all the structures that are needed to ensure that they continue to stay and operate profitably to contribute to national development. These two documents, Mr. President, complete it all.
President Akufo-Addo, who also joined stakeholders at this forum, intimated that he was unwavering in seeing to the profitability of state-owned enterprises.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you of the ambitious goal I set for our public enterprises sector, and that is for it to contribute 30% of our GDP. I'm pleased to report that I see considerable strides towards this target. Though impressive, there's still a long way to go from here. It is heartwarming to observe that by 2021, specified entities have significantly increased their total revenue to 121.8 billion cedis, compared to some 34.8 billion cedis in 2016.
For many years, state-owned enterprises have grappled with the challenge of remaining profitable. However, the 2024 Policy and Governance Forum is bringing together stakeholders to maximize the benefits of state ownership through effective corporate governance.
I'm happy to announce that 5 years after its establishment, today we are here to celebrate the success story of how these bodies are complying, how SOEs are complying, and it is having expression in the books of the companies that the state owns. I'm talking about the institution I manage. We made profit.
The Ghana Free Zones Authority is actually one of the most compliant organizations and will comply even further. So if something is supposed to be done in April, we would then endeavor to even do it in March.
This is Sugan reporting for Joy News. Kempinski, Accra.
Education Minister Dr. Ayari Dichum has admitted there is a serious infrastructure challenge that has plagued the implementation of the free senior high school program. This has led to overcrowding in many schools, leading to the implementation of a double-track system. While some schools have now ended the shift system, other schools continue to implement it. Speaking at an event to tell the Free SHS story, the minister said government will not relent in fixing all the problems facing the program, assuring the public the double-track system will be ended in due course.
The Free Senior High School is nearing a decade of implementation, and according to the Education Minister, Dr. Yawase Edichum, while infrastructure remains a challenge, government is committed to fixing that and eroding double track in all schools. Dr. Edichum says while critics focus on the negatives, he and his team at the Education Ministry are working to make the Free Senior High School an all-round success.
I hear all the time people talking about the Free Senior High School, and they don't tell the story of the children who were here. You have to look at something negative and focus on that. They are not focusing on the story of the children. This is a program that has touched many lives.
In his presentation, Dr. Edichum highlighted that government has not abandoned basic schools as the NDC claims.
But I know there are some who are watching from home and around the world, and they are saying, what about basic schools? Have you abandoned them? So they will say, yeah, we'll give you credit. You've done well with senior high school. But if you abandon basic schools, children are sitting under trees, and you're talking about drones. To them, I have a response. I look forward to a day when parents will line up in front of our public schools and beg to enroll their children. That is the day. And it will soon come.
Education watchers are meanwhile advising the Education Minister to stop being defensive of the challenges affecting the Free SHS, but rather appreciate the challenges and find lasting solutions to it.
I think one of the best ways we solve problems is to admit it. I think any psychologist will tell you that if you want to deal with a problem, the first step is to admit that there's a problem. And that is one of the challenges that we have had with the posture of the government in respect of this policy. There has not been enough admission of the challenges of the policy. Now, when there is not enough, when the admission is not there, it becomes difficult for you to even tackle the challenges, because you think that people are just doing this for the sake of destroying the policy. So one, there should be, if they admit that there are challenges, then we can move the step further to look at how we are going to address it. We have talked about decentralizing the feeding operations. I think Charles have said this several times about that. We've talked about improving infrastructure, and that there should be a dedicated fund to ensure that within the shortest possible time we improve infrastructure, not only in the category A schools, but also in some of the schools that are in some districts, like President Kufuor. So we target some of the schools, and then we uplift the infrastructure to a level that the congestion in the category A schools would reduce, because the very moment that you're able to provide a lot of infrastructure for some schools, parents would automatically want to take their wards to some of these schools that are also doing well. So these are the things that we need to focus on. The minister should focus on solving the challenges of the food, and then also make sure that the operationalization, the infrastructure challenges are also addressed.
Dr. Anti has been challenging the minister on its assertion that there has been massive improvement at the basic level.
Basic education, when we say this, there's been less focus on basic education, we are not saying it out of a vacuum. If you look at the data from the Ministry of Education, it clearly indicates that there are serious challenges with our basic education. From teacher to student ratio, that is the number of teachers available, to the provision of desks, to the nature of infrastructure, specifically looking at the buildings that the students are supposed to have that kind of education, to the provision of textbooks, and a whole lot, especially this time that we are doing ICT, most of the schools do not have ICT labs. They do not have libraries. Now, why do I mention these things? These things are supposed to serve as the inputs for quality education. That is why sometimes when people talk about we are providing quality education, we ask them, what do you think you are doing that is providing quality education? Because there are input variables. If you have students in a school that are being handled by only 2 teachers, then you cannot turn around and tell me that you are providing quality education. Again, in this country, last year or last 2 years, the statistical service indicated that 26% of rural communities do not have access to any form of basic education. So it means that they don't have kindergarten, they don't have primary, they don't have junior high school. 26% of rural communities. And then he said that 6% of urban cluster communities do not have all forms of education, basic education. So some will have basic, will have primary, but will not have junior high school. Some will have kindergarten, but will not have primary and junior high school.
The chiefs of Akukye in the Oti region want President Akufo-Addo to act to save their community from extinction. According to the chiefs, their communities are getting renamed without their knowledge and permission and are also not recognized in the Regional House of Chiefs. Speaking at a news conference in Accra, Paramount Queen Mother of Akukye traditional area, Inakika Ezieledu III, called on the president to act to save them.
A request to the states is simple. Like I already mentioned, ordinarily, it should not matter that some people are unable to pronounce our names, and so we are also called Apisos or Apisokubi. But because of the attempts to obliterate our names, to create the impression that Akposos are Togolese and not Ghanaians, and also the use of Apisokubi to oust our jurisdiction and our authority from our land is why we are seated here today. Yes. And our request to the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, yes, is to say that please take a critical look on the issue of Akposo-Kubi and its environs. Yes. We, the Akposo people, are calling on the President of the Republic of Ghana, the Speaker of Parliament and the Parliament of Ghana to take another look at the OTLI and amend it to take out the name Apisokubi and replace it with the original form of that name, Apisokubi. We are not going to sit aloof and watch anyone take over our land. Yeah. And our youth are boiling. We have laid our hands on them, and we are asking that the necessary statutory bodies and institutions take steps. So we are calling on the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, the Attorney General's Department, and the National House of Chiefs, and all well-meaning Ghanaians to look into the matter of Akposo-Kubi and rectify the wrong that has been done against
Management of the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant has underscored the potential of waste products as it says it holds great potential in transforming the fortunes of the country. Addressing the media when a delegation from the Lagos State government met the Waste Management Company, Managing Director of the Jospon Group of Companies, Michael Towo, revealed plans are far advanced in introducing a sustainable energy source derived from recycling waste to be used by heavy-duty industries. And the initiative, he says, is a response to calls by key industrial companies for alternative energy sources to be provided in compliance with the Sustainable Development Goals.
Increased population growth and rapid urbanization have resulted in the generation of large quantities of solid waste across major urban cities in Ghana, outstripping local authorities' ability to manage the disposal of waste in a sanitary manner. Ghana like most countries, recycles only a tiny percentage of its single-use plastics. The country's experience with solving the challenge of waste management and rapid urban growth can provide key lessons for developing countries. Addressing the press when a delegation from the Nigerian government met the Jospon Group, the managing director for the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant announced that it is exploring converting inorganic waste into energy at its recycling plant across the country.
I must say that we still have about 25-30% of the waste we receive as residual after we've recovered the 70% or 75%. And this 25-30% residual waste is made up of highly calorific materials like textiles, plastics, leather. And these are useful materials that we can also use for energy applications, and that's what I said, that we are going to use it for a product called RDF that will be used for most of our industries in heat generations. So for boilers, for cement industries, for instance, and then the manufacturing industry, their boilers, their kilns, instead of the use of RFO or biomass. RDF is a very good alternative for that. And this year we are going to introduce that into the market.
For the House Committee on Environment Chairman Rashid Shabi, using climate-friendly energy sources falls in line with his government's efforts to ensure the sustainable development goals are met.
In Lagos State, we are really so passionate about the environment, for sustainable environment for the future generation, to ensure when they come, they meet good environment. And we've been doing a lot of mitigations and a lot of things on the issue of the climate change to ensure we have a sustainable environment for the future generation.
In a bid to ensure clean sanitation across the African continent, the Accra Compost Recycling Plant, a subsidiary of Zoomlion Limited, seeks to extend the achievements the group has made to other African countries. Project lead for the Nigerian expansion project explains the motive behind the initiative.
Well, we all believe in the African common trade, free trade area. We believe that when we collaborate with other markets, especially in the sub-region, we'll be able to advance the cause of Pan-Africanism. This is an good opportunity for us as sisters with Nigeria to share some of the success stories in Ghana. So it's just a process of getting that achieved. That's why we have this delegation from Nigeria.
Operations of the plant are expected to generate about 100 direct and indirect jobs while ensuring a healthy environment, improved health and living conditions, and reduced air and water pollution. Stephen Mentor's report, read to you.
Also live on Joy News today, we're coming to you from our studios in Kokomlimle, and we are on DTT because we're free to wear. Let's take a break. When we return, there's business.
Welcome. Let's do some business with me, Emma Davis. Ghana lost about 2,055 of its workforce in 2022 to breast cancer. In an attempt to ensure early detection of the disease, Casona Global Imaging Limited has partnered Medical Scientific to provide affordable mammograms for the Ghanaian populace. There's more in this report.
The partnership between Kasona Global Imaging Limited and Medical Scientific aims to weed out substandard medical equipment on the market and help ensure early detection and treatment of breast cancer to protect the country's human resource. According to the chief executive of Kasona Global Imaging Limited, John Chibu, it has become necessary to improve the fight against the disease through the use of quality equipment.
The medical landscape has remained that we have foreign companies, expensive companies come in here, and then they sell equipment to us, Ghanaians. 2-3 months down the road, those equipments break down. If you go around Ghana, you're going to find that there are so many equipments that are sitting in hospitals. None of them is working. What happens, in fact, is it costs a lot more money to maintain this equipment. So when the manufacturers drop it with us and they leave, 2 months later we do not have any equipment. What we came here to do and what we're trying to do is to change that. There is no reason why you spend money buying an equipment, but that equipment is not working anymore. That's a drain, both on your capital and of course, it's a pressure on the patients that cannot get the services.
Project manager at Medical Scientific, Stanley Sonkin, added that the partnership will break barriers and help improve the fight against the disease.
In Ghana, like many other developing nations, access to mammograms has been limited due to various constraints. However, with this partnership, we will break down barriers and ensure that every woman, regardless of their socio-economic background, has access to crucial screening services. Mammograms are one of the most effective tools we have in detecting breast cancer at its earliest and most treatable stages. By providing affordable mammograms, we are empowering the most important women in our society, mothers, grandmothers, wives, daughters, to take control of their health and well-being.
The company promises to make available Ghanaian-trained engineers that would ensure the equipment are continuously fit for purpose.
Onion traders at the Kwadaso market are refusing to start trading activities at a new market after they were forcefully ejected on Monday by the Ashanti Regional Security Council. The affected traders are to relocate their businesses to Etrima Techiman, but none of them had reported to the new place when the news team visited on Tuesday. There's more in this report.
Less than 24 hours after they were asked to evacuate the Kwadaso market, the onion traders are now occupying the shoulders of the road near the old market to ply their wares. They argue the new market cannot contain them. They also fear a possible eviction in the coming years after suffering similar fate when they were moved from the Alaba market. While some of them take over the streets and authorized places, others are awaiting their leadership for the next line of action.
The new place cannot contain us. It will present challenges to us. This new place is also close to homes and can wreak havoc. We are waiting for the leadership for the next decision. We don't want to occupy a place where we will be later evicted. We were at race course when they asked us to leave and come here. They should let us know the cost of the land we occupy.
The Kwadaso Onion Market has now been cordoned to prevent people from accessing the area. Secretary to the Onion Traders Association, Umar Abdullahi, says leadership of the traders are working to secure a permanent location to avoid future evictions.
When we go, we have to go to the place that we have the payment, that we have our own, and we can never go and sleep anywhere that is not our own.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
That'll be all for business. My name is Emma Davis. For more business news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. JN Today continues. Please stay.
Time now to bring you sports on Joy News Today with me, Muftao Nabila Abla. Dreams FC will host Zamalek in the second leg of the CAF Confederation Cup semi-final at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium on Sunday. The Steve Believe boys secured a 0-0 stalemate in Cairo last Sunday, and skipper of the team, John Enchief, says that they will not be complacent in the second leg as they seek to secure a ticket to the final of the competition.
I think, first of all, we are not going to be complacent. We went to get a draw there. We know it's going to be difficult here in Ghana also. So like we have always been doing, we are going back to the drawing board to prepare very well and meet them here in Ghana. Well, I think for now, I will say we are a bit ahead. Going there to get the goalless draw, if you are able to win like 1-0 here, we will go through. So, like I said earlier, first of all, we are not going to be complacent, but then we are going to work hard and then get the win here to go to the next stage. I think it means a lot to us. Looking at where we are coming from, a young club, and then playing in African competition and coming to the semi-final, and God willing, we can go to the final. I would say it means a lot to the club. It was through the FA Cup that we are here in Africa, so we are taking that one too very serious. But then first of all, we are going to concentrate on our African game coming Sunday, and then from there we will see what will come out of the FA Cup also.
Later tonight, Merseyside derby as Liverpool and Everton square off. Manager of Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, says that it is a crucial match as his side will be seeking to reclaim the lost points in fighting for the top spot in the Premier League. Liverpool seeking to reclaim their place in the top spot in the Premier League. That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. Up next is World News.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Samayawa. Now, Globe Productions, led by Lateef Abubakar, unveils a new theatrical production in Accra, marking a collaboration with the Italian Embassy. This play is based on the novel The License by Italian prize winner Luigi Pirandello. My colleague Kwame Dazi has more in this report.
Lights, camera, action. The stage is set for an event as Globe Productions, under the leadership of Lateef Abubakar, launches their latest masterpiece at the Italian ambassador's residence. It's a star-studded affair with the press and creative industry bigwigs in attendance. Lateef Abubakar acknowledged the importance of the play to the relationship between Ghana and Italy.
It's also partnering the Embassy of Italy to adapt and stage an Italian play dubbed The License. Written by Italian dramatist, novelist and poet, and Nobel Prize winner in literature, Luigi Pirandello. The play explores themes of bureaucracy, absurdity, and an individual struggle against oppressive systems. Ladies and gentlemen, we at Globe Productions remain committed to projecting Ghana's theatre industry to the world.
In her address, the Italian ambassador to Ghana, Daniela Delandi, highlighted the importance of collaborating with Globe Productions for the play.
The Italian play, in collaboration with a Ghanaian production company as a Globe Production, marks a milestone for us and also for Ghana for the collaboration between Italy and Ghana in the theatre sector. And we do hope it won't be a one-off performance, but it will lead to a journey together of more plays, which mean more support for the Ghanaian theatre sector.
Some of the people playing roles in The License are Jackie Ankara and Omar Sharif Kaptan. Omar Sharif spoke about how challenging his role is.
It has to do with a lot of different characters at the same time. You understand? Because me being a Juju man, okay, plus playing somebody from the north who is a Northerner, but a Christian as well. You understand me? I feel the character is really confused, and I have to play it in such a way that the confusion will play well for the audience to see.
Well, mark your calendars. The license hit the stage on 4th, 5th, and 6th May at the Accra International Conference Center. Kwame Dati's report read to you.
Well, in a rather sad development, veteran Nollywood actor Zulu Adigwe has reportedly passed on. Adigwe is said to have died on Tuesday evening. His death was announced in an Instagram post by movie producer Stanley Nwoko, who says, "I regret to announce the passing of veteran actor late Zulu Adigwe. What caused his death is yet to be revealed. Rest in peace, good actor," he added. Now, during his career, Adigwe was famous in the movies Living in Bondage, Breaking Free, and many others. Nollywood has lost 6 of its actors in this year. As a wrap for the showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline and Yeboah.
And that's a wrap of the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjournline.com for more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.